This plan would change everything. If you follow it, you will improve faster than you ever thought possible. I realized something important. When I tried to speak English, my brain was slow. I knew words, but I could not put them together quickly. I needed a way to make speaking feel natural. I started using a method that I now call the question and answer method. This method is simple but powerful. Here's how it works. I asked myself a simple question in English. I answered it immediately, without thinking too much. I repeated the process with different answers. For example, I started with an easy question. Question: what did you do today? At first, my answer was short, I worked. But I forced myself to say more. I worked on my project. I worked on my project for 3 hours. I worked on my project for 3 hours, then I took a break. I worked on my project for 3 hours, then I took a break and had some coffee. Every time I answered, I added more details. This trained my brain to think in English and speak without hesitation. Another example. Question: what did you eat for breakfast? First answer: I ate eggs. Then, I ate eggs and toast. Then, I ate eggs, toast, and a banana. Then, I ate eggs, toast, and a banana because I was really hungry. Finally, I ate eggs, toast, and a banana because I was really hungry, and I love eating a big breakfast. I did this every single day for at least 30 minutes. My speaking speed improved dramatically. My sentences became longer, and I stopped translating in my head. One of my biggest problems was pronunciation. Even when I spoke English, I still sounded like a foreigner. Native speakers understood me, but my accent was strong. So, I used the echo technique. This is the best way to improve pronunciation without a teacher. Here's how it works. I listen to a native speaker, from movies, YouTube, or podcasts. I paused the audio after each sentence. I repeated the sentence exactly the same way, same speed, same tone, same emotion. For example, I took a short clip from a movie. The character said, "I don't know what you're talking about." I paused and repeated, "I don't know what you're talking about." Another example from a podcast: it was a beautiful day, so I decided to go for a walk. I paused and repeated, "It was a beautiful day, so I decided to go for a walk." At first, it felt difficult, but after repeating 10 times, my voice started to sound similar to the native speaker. I did this every day for 30 minutes. After 1 month, my pronunciation improved so much that even native speakers started saying, "Wow, your English sounds really natural." I knew that vocabulary was important, but I also knew that memorizing word lists does not work. So, I needed a better method. I used the story method. Here's how it works. I took 5 new words every day. I created a short story using all 5 words. I read the story out loud 10 times. I used the words in my real conversations. Example. New words: excited, invitation, party, arrive, surprise. My story. I was very excited because I received an invitation to a big party. When I arrived at the party, I got a huge surprise. It was my birthday party. I did this every day. After 3 months, I had learned over 1,000 new words, without memorizing anything. One of the biggest problems learners have is that they think in their native language first, then translate into English. This makes speaking slow and unnatural. So, I train my brain to think in English. Here's how. I described everything around me in English. Example: When I walked outside, I said in my mind, "The sky is blue. The weather is hot. I see people walking. That man is wearing a red shirt." I asked myself questions and answered in English. Example. What am I doing right now? I am sitting in a chair, drinking coffee, and writing in my notebook. I wrote my daily journal in English. Every night, I wrote about my day in English. At first, I wrote simple sentences, but after 1 month, my writing became more natural. After a few weeks, I noticed something amazing. I was no longer translating. English words came naturally into my mind. One of the things I did was simple but powerful. I made a rule. Every day, I had to speak English for at least 2 hours, no excuses. If I had no one to talk to, I talked to myself. If I was busy, I spoke English while cooking, cleaning, or walking. If I felt lazy, I told myself, English is my future. I cannot stop now. Part 3, my final breakthrough. Now that I had the habit of listening and speaking, I wanted to go higher. But I learned one very important thing: just listening and speaking was not enough. If I didn't understand grammar and sentence structure, would still make mistakes. I wanted to sound more natural and not confuse people. So, I started watching how native speakers made sentences. When I heard a sentence, I didn't just say it again, I asked myself, why is it like this? For example, I heard, I have been learning English for 5 months. But in school, I learned, I am learning English for 5 months. That was a big moment for me. I saw that school English and real English are not always the same. So, I started learning the differences. Why do people say, I have been learning and not, I am learning? I found that these small grammar points made a big difference in sounding natural. I began writing down common sentence types. I used them in my speaking practice. One big problem I had was prepositions. On the bus, but, in the car, why? At night, but, in the morning, why? I made a small notebook and wrote these down with examples. If I didn't understand, I searched online or listened to how native speakers used them. To improve more, I started writing a diary in English every night. In the beginning, it was very simple. Today I went to work. I was tired. I ate pizza. It was good. But I wanted to write better, so I asked, how do native speakers write? I read blogs, news, and books. I saw how they used sentences. Then, I tried to use the same style in my diary. One thing that helped a lot was shadowing. I found videos of native speakers, wore my headphones, and copied every word fast, just like they said it. I did this for 20 minutes each day. In a few weeks, my speaking got better. Another thing I did was watch English movies with subtitles. But I didn't just watch, I paused after every sentence and repeated it. I copied the tone, sound, and speed. Slowly, my English sounded more natural. At this point, I saw something important: English is not only words and grammar. It's also confidence. Many people know English but don't speak because they are scared. I decided, I will not be afraid of making mistakes. I started speaking to people in English when I could, at work, at shops, with friends. Even if I made mistakes, people still understood me. They did not laugh. That gave me more confidence. Then came my biggest fear: talking to native speakers. I was scared they would not understand me or I would forget words. So I made a plan. I prepared 10 common questions and practiced them every day. How was your day? What do you do for work? What's your favorite food? I practiced answers so I could speak easily. Then I joined an online group. People from many countries came together to practice English. At first, I was shy. But later, I saw that everyone was learning, just like me. We became friends and practiced together. It made English fun. The final transformation. At the end of my journey, I felt strong. I was not the same person who failed because of bad English. I had changed myself, slowly, with hard work, practice, and the right mindset. Now, I want to tell you the biggest lessons I learned. These can help you too. One day, I spoke to myself in the mirror, like I always did, but something was different. I was not stopping. I was not thinking in my language first. The words came easily. It felt like magic, but it was just months of work. That day, I tested myself. I joined an online meeting with native speakers. I was nervous but told myself, I worked too hard. I can do this. And I spoke. My words were clear. I didn't search for words. I understood what others said. They listened to me, smiled, and asked me questions. It was amazing. That day, I knew, I was fluent. 5 months after starting, I applied for my dream job again. I was not the same Aryan who failed before. I was ready. This time, I was confident. I sat in front of the interviewer. I was not scared of English. I spoke clearly. I answered all the questions. I didn't just speak English, I was confident with it. I saw it in their eyes, they liked my English, my hard work, and my story. A few days later, I got a call. I will never forget those words. Aryan, congratulations. You got the job. For a second, I couldn't believe it. The same company that said no before, now wanted me. My salary was $5,000 a month. That was more than I ever thought possible. I stood still, holding my phone, crying. First thing I did. I called my parents. Mom, Dad. I did it. My mother cried. My father, who never shows feelings, said, "We always knew you could." That moment showed me, this was not just for me. It was for them too. With my first salary, I bought my father a nice watch, something he always wanted. For my mother, I bought a gold necklace. She gave so much for our family. Now, I could give something back. When I gave them the gifts, they said no, we don't need this. But I said, this is my thank you. You believed in me, when I didn't. At that moment, I knew, every hard day, every late night, every time I wanted to stop, it was all worth it. Key lessons from my journey. Here are the most important things I learned that helped me become fluent in a few months. 1. Mindset is everything. Most people don't learn English because they think they can't. I was like that too. But when I changed my thinking, everything changed. I told myself, English is not hard. I can learn it like any skill. I stopped saying, I'm bad at English. I started saying, I'm getting better every day. If you think you can't, you won't. If you believe you can, you will find a way. 2. Surround yourself with English. I made English part of my life. I changed my phone to English. I watched only English shows. I listened to English songs, even if I didn't understand all the words. I followed English-speaking people online. I also spoke and thought in English. If I saw a car, I said, that's a blue car. It's fast. This helped me learn new words naturally. 3. Speak without fear. Many people don't speak because they're scared. I used to be scared too. But I learned, native speakers don't mind if you make mistakes. They like that you're trying. So, I pushed myself to speak. I talked to shopkeepers in English. I asked strangers for help in English. I talked to myself in English when alone. The more I spoke, the better I got. 4. Active listening and shadowing. Listening is as important as speaking. I trained my ears by listening to English podcasts and shows. But I didn't just listen, I did shadowing. That means I listened to a sentence and said it right after, with the same sound and speed. This helped my accent and fluency. 5. Learn new words in context. At first, I tried learning word lists. But I stopped. That didn't help. Instead, I learned words in sentences. Like instead of just, happy, I learned. I feel happy today. That movie made me happy. This helped me remember and use words better. 6. Learn grammar naturally. I didn't use grammar books. I learned grammar by listening and speaking. When I made mistakes, I corrected myself. For example, I said, he go to school. Then someone told me, he goes to school. That's how I learned. By using English, not by memorizing rules. 7. Be consistent, not perfect. Some people wait to be perfect. But that's a mistake. I spoke from day one, even with few words. I made a rule, do something in English every day. Some days, I spoke for 10 minutes. Some days, I wrote a small note. Some days, I listened to a podcast. What matters is doing something daily. Final words. You don't need expensive schools. You don't need a perfect place. You just need a strong goal and daily practice. Imagine 6 months from now, you speak English well, with confidence. New chances will come to you. You will feel proud. Start today. Speak. Listen. Write. Don't stop. This is not just about English, it's about changing your life. And I want to say this, if I can do it, you can too. It doesn't matter where you begin. It doesn't matter how bad you think your English is. What matters is starting, now. I know it's hard. I know it feels too big. But believe me, the only thing between you and good English is practice. Stop doubting. Stop waiting. Put English all around you. Speak, listen, read, write, every single day. Make mistakes. Learn. Get better. Because here is the truth, the pain of hard work is for now. But the pain of regret lasts forever. So, what will you choose? Choose practice. Choose growth. Choose success. Your journey to fluency starts now. If this story helped you, like this video and subscribe to my channel. I'll be with you all the way. Let's learn together.